Where did integrity go? Maybe into the bank accounts of the oligarchs? Check it out. Leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Donald Trump is signing an executive order of sorts today. The essence of it basically is he's asking Congress to do something. I mean, as CNN reports, the order mainly leans on lawmakers to do the heavy lifting. So Trump will get credit for saying, oh, we're doing this and we're doing that, when in fact his executive order is saying, hey, Congress, would you please do this? Would you please do that? And we're going to do this little small thing here over in the Department of Justice that we can handle. You know, it's the triumph of style over substance. And, you know, and I think it's frankly obscene. Last night on MSNBC, on Rachel Maddow's show, she had her producer, Steve Bannon, on. We've got to get Steve on this program. He's got a new book out. And the allegation, essentially, I think it's called Imposters. And basically what he's saying in this book is that for at least the last decade, and not having read the book, I'm just going off his interview last night, for at least the last decade, I would say since the 1980s, and I'll get to that in just a second, the Republican Party has ceased to be a party of principles. There are no political principles there. And therefore has become entirely transactional. It's all about what do we do today that will help advance our own wealth and power. We're now, by the way, hearing that 4 members of Congress have gotten millions of dollars out of that $500 billion that Steve Mnuchin is passing out and refusing to tell anybody who it went to. But we don't know beyond this. There's, 4 who have been outed. One of the 4 gave the money back. That was a Democrat. Or actually the husband of a Democrat, of a woman who's a Democratic member of Congress. But the 2 Republicans, hey, bring the cash. Oh, yeah. Because, the party has no core. Similarly, Donald Trump has no core. What are Donald Trump's principles? Well, outside of being a white nationalist or a white supremacist, a racist, I don't think Donald Trump has any core principles. It's, you can sum him up with, racism and me. It's all, anything that's going to help him and his kids, cool. Anything else? Not so much. And when I say and his kids, I'm not sure it even means and his kids. I mean, look at what he did to his daughter Tiffany. Cutting her mom, out essentially from most of the Trump wealth. Marla Maples. But, Louise, my wife Louise, who's been my partner in business here in the nearly 50 years we've been married, every company we've started, Louise has gone out of her way to construct essentially a mission statement for the company. I mean, this is something that we do as we're putting together the idea for a company. Because she's very clear about it and has said this over and over for years. If you don't have a vision, you either work for vision or you work for money. You either work for something, you either work towards something or you work to pay the bills. And there's nothing wrong with working to pay the bills. Probably 80% of Americans who have a job are working to pay the bills. And there's that lucky 20% of Americans, and maybe it's not even that many, who have a job where they're actually proud of their job. They feel like their job is accomplishing something positive in the world. It's got, they may have some disagreements with how things get done, but broadly speaking, we're producing a net positive for the earth, for the world, for humanity. There's a small percentage of people, who in their jobs feel that way. And that's a great thing. That's, a wonderful thing. But for somebody in public service, somebody who has been elected to serve and lead the people, to not have a vision statement, to not be a person who is working toward a specific goal, a more just society, a world that works for all, the survival of life on Earth, to not have some sense of mission is to betray this country. And that's what the Republican Party and Donald Trump have been doing for a long, long time. And I said, earlier, ever since the 1980s, I think that when the Reagan Revolution started, the first few years of the Reagan presidency, you had these conservatives who for a decade, 2 decades, really 3, I guess, since the 1950s, 1957, Montpelier and Society and Ludwig von Mises and Friedrich Hayek, and then, throughout the late 50s and early 60s, Milton Friedman, they had these ideas that if you just got rid of government and let the marketplace regulate everything, the magical invisible hand would solve all our problems. There were a lot of these guys who actually believed this. Barry Goldwater actually believed this. Reagan comes into office and they actually put some of these practices into effect and discover that they don't work. They make things worse. They exacerbate problems. And I believe that was the point at which the Republican Party lost its soul, and Republican politicians, ever since the 1980s, have just been out for money and power, whatever they can smash and grab. When do you think it started?
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Call 202-808-9925.
Do you think I'm right that the Republican Party actually once had principles, bizarre as they were, and no longer does? Or do they have something I'm missing here?